Welcome to the channel, everybody. We're going to be changing some leaf springs on my V-Cross Platinum. All right, the first thing we should probably talk about is how did I diagnose that I needed to change my leaf springs? Well, looky here. I lost that tire, and I've lost that tire twice. The first time I had a camper shop repair it, which they'll never touch my equipment again. And then the second time that I lost the exact same tire, it made me wonder, why am I losing the exact same tire, seeing how the tires I have are brand new. Well, I crawled up underneath the camper, and under a load, this leaf spring was flat, and the other three were almost as flat. So under a load, that thing is worn. It's too relaxed. The axles are 5,300 pound axles, and the leaf springs, I believe, are 4-leaf 2,700 pound leaf springs. Now let me show you something. I've got 3 slides, one here, and then one down here. The one down here is the only one not modified. The middle one, which is the bigger one, and the bedroom one, both had a leak, and they were repaired. Well, now this thing has a stainless steel cap that goes down to about here, goes up all the way over and down, and then it's all the way across the bottom. And this one does as well. It has a cap that starts about here, goes up, goes over. If you look at your slide, you can see where the seam is on the side up near the top. Well, under that seam, or that seam is over the metal, but it's all the way over. And this is a pretty good slide, pretty good size slide. And there's a piece of stainless all the way underneath it as well. It's made this camper a little heavier. That's what my tire looked like after it blew out. And then there's my replacement metal. So anyway, with the extra weight and the age, this leaf spring is too relaxed, it's too fatigued to hold this camper up. With the added weight, I went ahead and went to a 6-leaf spring, or 6-leaf spring. For the extra weight, the dimensions are the same. This leaf spring will fit. Here, I'll show you. This is where I ordered it. All right, so I'm just going to hold this up here. We went from 2,700 pounds to 3,500 pounds, 6 leaf springs. This one will take more time to fatigue, and it's a little heavier. Well, you're going to have a rougher ride. That's probably what you're thinking. Well, with the extra weight of the camper, with the stainless steel caps and beds on them, I'm probably not going to have that much more of a rough ride. So I've got new U-bolts, new hanger bolts, and leaf springs for all 4 positions, and then I'm going to hang those. All right, so I'm on the left side of the camper. I'm going to take off these leaf springs and put new leaf springs on, and I'm going to do it from the side that's good. So if you so it's kind of more like a normal situation instead of abnormal where part of it's missing. All right, so I've got a floor jack for one axle. I've got a floor jack from another axle. I happen to have 2 floor jacks. If you're attempting to do this, you probably own at least 1 floor jack, but you probably know someone that has a floor jack. Borrow it from them. It's much easier with 2 floor jacks. So this is what I've got. I've got a jack stand that I'm going to use to put under the frame on this side. And I've got my heavy duty jack stand that I'm going to put under the frame on this side. This will support the weight of the vehicle while there's no wheels on it, because we're going to end up with both wheels removed at the same time. Doesn't take that many tools, so I put my tools, some sockets, wrenches, and my parts in the box, brought them over here, my impact. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take these wheels off. So we're going to jack up one, take it off, jack up the other, take it off. Let's do that. That's about where I placed the jack in relation to the U-bolts. Jacking it up. And as a side note, you can see over on the other side, I have the wheels chalked. All right, I jacked it up just far enough so that the wheel spins, and I did this because I have an impact. So I'm using a 1/2-inch impact to take this off. If you don't have an impact, break your lug nuts loose like you would on a car before you get the wheel off the ground. Now that I've got the tire up high enough, I put my jack stand underneath there, and it's under the frame. All right, then we'll take the tire off. Lug nut. Let's jack this up and lift this, get this tire off. And while we're at it, we're going to put this jack stand under that part of the frame too. All right, a couple things I want to note right here. I did lower this down, this floor jack here down, to make this shackle bracket, this shackle a little more even. And that on this side, this is where the power for the brakes drop out, and they do drop over the leaf springs. So just make a note of that. The good thing about using the floor jack is I can manipulate the axles up and down to make this line up where you can just push the bolt through. It's not a problem. So we're going to take these out. So we're going to take the rear bolt out first. All right, to get that off, what I did was I lowered that jack down until the jack's just barely even hanging, touching the axle. There's that one. Now we're going to take this one out. I'll show it to you. Hey, but pull it right out. Easy peasy. All right, I put this on my impact to get my U-bolt nuts loose. And the first step of getting that bolt out is to loosen my U-bolts. Makes it easier. There we go. Got them loose. I didn't take two of them all the way off, but I did the other two. I didn't want the U-bolts to fall down. You can see the leaf spring's really loose in there. Just got to get that bolt loose from the hanger. There we go. Ran it out. The reason I'm not mentioning sizes on the sockets that I'm using is because the same socket and wrench that takes this off isn't the same socket and wrench to put the other one on, and yours are probably not going to be the same depending on your manufacturer, so you'll have to figure that out as you go. Taking my last U-bolt nuts off. There you go. Pick my U-bolts up, throw them over there in a pile, plate in the pile, and then we can lift these off. But I'm not going to be able to do that and film it, more than likely. Alright, they just lift right off. Alright, we're going to waste no time. On the old leaf spring, the band was in the front. We'll put the band in front on this one as well. That's the bracket the leaf spring sits on. The pin in the bottom of the leaf spring sits in that hole. There's the pin or bolt. Holds the leaf springs together. Sticks out of the top. There we go. We're just going to set that in that hole in the bracket. I've got the leaf spring sitting on the bracket. The bolt on the bottom is in the hole. My brake wires are over it, and we're going to put the hanger bolt in first. Yeah, I said that, but I didn't mean that. What I meant was let's put on the U-bolts first, but we're not going to tighten them up. We're just going to put them on. Snug them a little bit, but not much. All right, I got the U-bolts on, just got the nuts on. When you tighten this down, make sure you get it centered up. It's got a little bit of play, so make sure you don't let it twist. Tighten it up as centered as possible. All right, now for that front hanger bolt. Get it lined up. And when you get lined up, just shove your bolt through there. And then you can see how far away that's going to be, so I'm going to lower the axle down a little bit. Hold on. Try to get that more in line. That might be all right. So, let's see if I can. A little too much, maybe. It'll be all right. Just push it in there. Get the other side up. Oops. In there, you can see the bolt coming out the other side. Then I'll lightly put more on it in preparation for tightening everything down. There we go. Now everything's on, needs to be tightened up. All right, good deal. As you tighten these up, try to make sure you tighten them up so they're about the same length as out of the nut on each U-bolt. I know they lock in, but it's got lock washers on them underneath it, but I still use some Loctite underneath it, just for peace of my mind. All right, get them tightened up even, then we'll tighten up the hanger bolts. All right, good deal. Gonna tighten up the hanger bolts. Two things. This hanger bolt has knurling underneath it. Don't let the head spin once it seats, if possible, and don't crimp it so tight that the shackles squeeze your leaf spring and won't let it rotate. All right, moving right along. Oh yeah, by the way, these are crimp nuts. They got a little squeeze on them, so they don't go on real easy. But that's how, that's why they stay on, because as you tighten them on, you malform them into a circle rather than the oval that they've been squeezed into. So that's how those things stay on. But I'll add a lot of Loctite to it, just because Loctite doesn't hurt. That's why. Tight, tight, and tight. All right, so we're done with this one. We're going to move on to the next one. That one. All right, we're going to repeat the process. Take this bolt out, loosen these, remove this bolt, and remove those, and remove the leaf spring. So we'll start right here. Well, he's not going to do it, I'm going to do it. All right, we got that one out. We've got those loose. We're going to take that nut off and take that bolt out. Got that bolt out of the hanger. Now, let's get rid of the U-bolts. U-bolts are gone. Let's try and get this without destroying my wiring. Got a little bit of slack in there, don't let you drop so low you rip your wires out. All right, my new spring is in. Let's put some U-bolts on it. All right, put my new U-bolts on. Left them loose. Now, the hanger bolt. All right, and everything's tightened back up. New leaf springs are installed. I'm going to put tires on and call it even. And if you're watching, hit like and subscribe. It's free. Costs you no money. Helps me out. And that's the way I did it. You may not do it the same way, but maybe I gave you a tip or two. All right. Enjoy the day, everybody.